Watching Fox 10 AZAM with Troy Hayden, Andrea Robinson, Ron Hoon, Celeste Rodriguez, and Corey McCloskey.
Huge traffic mess if you're trying to head down to, say, Tucson or anywhere south of the valley on I-10. A police investigation shutting down that highway. We have team coverage, including Marcy Jones, who is getting near that scene. Marcy?
That's right, Troy. It's been a nightmare for morning commuters. In fact, we've been pulled over for about 20 minutes now, and traffic really hasn't moved at all. It's just crawling up just a couple of feet. We'll have the latest for you, what you need to know before you head out the door.
Marcy, thank you. Plus, Tesla continues to clash with feds over a fatal crash of a Tesla that was in autopilot mode. We take a look at how safe autopilot really is.
Carmen.
And I'm Carmen Blackwell with more on why Red for Ed organizers are saying that Governor Ducey's pay increase plan isn't enough and how a walkout may be in the works.
How about that?
Yeah.
Just before 7 o'clock. Hello, everybody.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Monday morning. Hope you had a nice weekend.
Andrea has the day off.
She does.
Little 3-day to spend with the family.
Good for her. And I'm glad you're here. I know you are too. Corey, are you glad
I'm glad.
Okay,
Everyone's here. I feel good that I'm here.
Oh, yeah, welcome back. You had a few days, a couple
I
days
feel
off.
good that I'm here.
Yeah.
Thank you. They were restful.
That's nice. You look fresh.
Thanks. I feel good.
Well, holding the little.
Gonna get a haircut today.
Shears out. Thank you.
Short.
The shears.
They did. They're like,
they
you
just
want a number 5 or a number 3? I said, I don't know what that means. I feel like a sheep. Bah.
They just throw you down in your flank. Get after it. Well, it's going to be a good day, a windy day for sure. Temps will be on the typical side, but winds will gust to the 20 to 30 mile an hour range, so keep that in mind. We'll see what the numbers will do for tomorrow and beyond in a few minutes, buddy.
All right. 7 o'clock, and let's go ahead and get to some news for you. Phoenix fire on the scene of a mobile home fire near 7th Avenue in Southern. It started out in a shed, and then it spread next door. The damage right up in the roof area here. So these are live pictures, and you can see, yeah, boy, that whole small shed looks like it is pretty much burned up there. A lot of smoke, fire fully involved. There were some concerns about some animals there on the property, a horse and some dogs. The good news is they were evacuated. They were not hurt.
There were a couple of dogs that were able to get out of the building, so they weren't harmed. And then just behind the structure that was mainly on fire was a horse stall. There was a horse running around, but it stayed contained in the fencing, and it wasn't affected. It doesn't seem to be injured.
So again, good work by Phoenix Fire if you're wondering what's going on in that neighborhood. We have new pictures of another fire this morning in Glendale. Family escapes their mobile home after it goes up in flames. And boy, you know, we've talked about this a lot. When those mobile homes catch fire, they really go. So this is 67th Avenue in Bell. Glendale Fire Department sending us these pictures. We're working to get more details. But when you look at how fully involved this fire is, pretty miraculous that 4 people were able to get out, the home destroyed. There may be some family pets inside this fire, though, that did not make it out. The cause is under investigation. All right, let's head now to that news alert south of the valley. Big closure on I-10 in Eloy, and it is a death investigation right there on the freeway. Team coverage. Let's start with Troy Barrett, who is over the area in Skyfox. And Troy, we're hearing about some major backups, and this is the cause here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at about a 2-mile, maybe 2+ mile backup at this point. Here's the good news for folks who are taking I-10 eastbound down to Tucson, is that DPS and the other investigators here are beginning to wrap up. They're taking up their cones right now. Just a few moments ago, we saw the medical examiner put the victim in the van and then head back toward Phoenix. So it looks like they're beginning to wrap this up. But as far as what's happening for the traffic in this area right now, we're also hearing, while I move the camera, I'll tell you that investigators say that they're looking for a white Volkswagen Golf that may have taken the victim and thrown them out of the car onto the freeway. And we're hearing also from DPS that some witnesses say that they saw the victim crawling a little bit along the side of the road. And of course, that victim passed away here this morning along the side of I-10 eastbound going down to Tucson. But you can see what's happened with DPS. They've taken all of the traffic off right around exit 212, which is pretty close to where, if you're familiar with this area, through this pecan grove here, they're doing some construction in the area. They're taking all the traffic off of the freeway and putting it on the frontage road. So the backup in total, about 2.5, maybe maybe 3 miles long. But again, they've opened the frontage road back up. We're starting to see traffic flow again. So this is going to get wrapped up as far as the backup on the frontage road is concerned fairly quickly. And then, of course, DPS looks like they're finishing their investigation as well.
Yeah, it looked like, Troy, there are a couple different levels of, you know, where the freeway was closed. There was that actual investigation scene, and there was another line of police cruisers looked like just behind them. So what do you think? Another 5, maybe 10 minutes until they get that whole thing cleaned up and opened up?
Yeah, as I look out the window here to my left, I'll move the camera and we'll go back and look at that scene. There's a fire truck on scene along with 2 other DPS trucks that are blocking the road itself just for safety's sake. But the actual crime scene where you see these 2 trucks plus the DPS vehicle, they're wrapping that up right now, picking up the crime scene tape and the cones. So we're probably talking another half an hour or so, I think, at the most.
Yeah, so if you're heading down to Tucson, you might want to give it just a few more minutes, and then you might want to head down there. I think that Pecan Grove is good, depending on where you are in the valley, probably a good, 25 to 45 minutes down there. All right, Troy, thank you for the update on that. Let's continue our coverage now with Marcy Jones. Marcy, stuck in this big backup. So you just heard that, I think, Marcy. Looks like they're cleaning this thing up, and you guys may get moving again here fairly shortly.
Absolutely. Good news for everybody stuck here because honestly, Troy, in front of us, everybody just had their car parked because they weren't even moving an inch. And now you're seeing a few cars and some trucks being able to go by. And we can see Skyfox kind of circling around, and we're a few miles north of where Picacho Peak is. And people, as we've seen drivers go by, they just kind of have this look on their face like, when is this going to end? It looks and it sounds like, according to Troy, that relief is in sight, but this has been going on for hours. I-10 eastbound completely closed down. All that traffic was getting exited off at 211, and alternate routes included the east frontage road where traffic could also re-enter the highway at milepost 219. Now, there's, again, no estimated time confirmed by DPS or any of the other investigators in control at this time, but it looks as if it's starting to move a little bit more now. And those westbound lanes were not affected at all. However, again, this has been going on for hours, so I'm sure commuters very happy to be at least moving at this point. Troy?
All right, Marcy, thank you. We'll update you on this when that freeway does open up. We'll let you know, but again, it should be fairly soon here. New this morning, a driver hospitalized after smashing into a fence. Happened in Tempe near Elliott and McClintock. Nobody was home, in the home, I should say, was hurt. The driver had some injuries, but they're not life-threatening. He may have been impaired. New details on a 3-year-old boy who was in critical condition pulled from a backyard pool in Buckeye. Happened at a home near Rooks Road and Baseline. Firefighters say the toddler's grandfather was performing CPR on the child when they got there. It's not clear how the child ended up in the water or if there's a fence around the pool. This is the first drowning call in Buckeye so far this year, so we're working to get an update on that boy's condition. But again, as Dave Muncy said, for years and years here, you always have to watch your kids around water. Turns out women working in one Valley City are doing pretty well for themselves. Scottsdale is near the top of the list of the highest paid working women, according to an analysis by Smart Asset. According to that analysis, Scottsdale is at number 2, women earning an average salary of $56,600. It was quite a distance from number 1, which was Arlington, Virginia, $75,000 a year. Madison, Wisconsin, rounding out the top 3. The report ranked 100 cities on women's salaries, female business owners, unemployment rate, and housing costs. So congratulations, the ladies of Scottsdale.
Pretty good news, right? Pretty good news for all those women.
7:07, let's get to some traffic with Celeste. Hello.
We'll all be feminists by the end of the morning. 7:07 this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at your roads here. Lots of green on the map here for all you folks in the East Valley. You can see the US 60 very nice. I-10 driving up into the Broadway curve, fairly nice as well. North Valley, look at the I-17 and the 101. Not very often you can hear something like that happening up in the north part of the valley at the 7:07 hour. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of accidents that we have, some situations that have kind of stuck around. It's taken some time to get them off of our valley freeways. This one is a situation here. This is a crash on the exit ramp from I-10 eastbound at exit 141 to 35th Avenue southbound. And then we have this situation, which we've been covering, Troy, for a number of hours. The situation south of the valley, south of Eloy, where the road is closed due to that police investigation. And then, of course, our ADOT camera is a little sleepy for a Monday.
Yeah, sometimes we have your pictures, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
And today's a don't.
That's okay.
Welcome back, Corey. Let's get to that
We trudge
picture over
forward.
there. Tanned, rested, and ready? Office 4-day weekend.
TRR. But man, what is this thing?
Yeah. What do they call those cowlicks? Is that a cowlick?
Yes, it's a cowlick.
Yeah.
That's an expression that's gone by the wayside.
Where does that come from?
Cowlick? Well, it's what your hair looks like after a cow licks it.
A cow licks it.
It licks it straight up.
It takes you back
this
to the farm
crazy
days.
Alfalfa type.
It's usually back in the back, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Like
usually get it back there.
Troy has one. But your
Excuse
hair,
me?
but your hair doesn't
Troy
look
lives
like
in
that.
a very rural area.
Of Awatuki.
Very likely to encounter a cow on his way in. It's going to be breezy today, blustery Monday, so be prepared for that. We'll see cloudy skies today, but you can see that cold front working its way through Arizona, and then look up there off the California coast, the Bay Area. It's chilly up there. It's a really raw sort of a day, windy there as well, and very chilly too. So temps today in Arizona will be on the warm side, but it will be breezy. Tomorrow is when that cold air will start to filter in, and we may top out tomorrow just in the, upper 70s or so. Could be quite pleasant, mid-70s really. So we've got some windy conditions across the I-40 corridor now, and those winds will pick up later today. So we'll call it 86 this afternoon with cloudy skies here in the valley, and over the next week and a half, the numbers will continue to be fantastic. Tomorrow, 74, that's a pretty good looking day, and we'll keep the cool weather going through the work week with a warm up for the weekend.
All right, buddy.
Yep.
Looking pretty good, Core.
Thank you. Let's get out to Ron in the newsroom, who is checking breaking news for us this morning. What are you seeing, Ron?
Well, it's interesting, you guys. The stock market is up to start a Monday morning, and it may be a bit of a relief rally because the U.S. did launch missiles, as was expected, into Syria in response to their chemical attack. But right now, there's no sign of any type of wider war breaking out. Now, the Department of Defense has released some brand new video of the missile strike. Look at this. It's really incredible when you watch it. There it takes off. It was fired. This, by the way, one of more than 100 missiles fired, not just by the U.S., but our allies, too, including France and Great Britain. And then take a look at the takeout there of a suspected chemical weapons facility. The president tweeted, "Mission accomplished." Now, that's a Tomahawk missile launched from a submarine, the USS John Warner, in retaliation to that chemical attack in Doma in Syria. The president did say mission accomplished, but it's also a warning from the U.S. that if Assad continues to use chemical weapons on his people, the U.S. will continue with our allies to respond. All right, Bill Cosby's sex assault retrial continuing again this morning. It's already 10 in the morning in Philadelphia. More accusers taking the stand. Andrea Constand telling jurors on Friday that she met up with Cosby at his Philadelphia area mansion some 14 years ago, and that Cosby slipped her blue pills that made her unconscious, and that she awoke to him having sex with her. Constand is set to continue her testimony today. It's pretty graphic and somewhat emotional. Cosby's team is trying to portray her as a con artist, but we'll see how that sits with the jury. Really fascinating story coming out this morning from Apple in Cupertino. They've decided to really start cracking down on employees who leak information about the company. According to Bloomberg, Apple warning employees in a company memo just the other day that if they leak information, it will A, cost them their job, but B, could result in jail time, and C, there could be other consequences. The memo reportedly says the company caught 29 people leaking confidential information last year, and 12 of them got arrested. Apple says the information leaked included details about the iPhone's latest software and more. So Apple leakers who lose their job, Apple says they face real difficulties finding employment anywhere else. So A, you lose your job. B, you could go to jail. C, good luck finding a job somewhere else. They're taking it really seriously.
Yeah, well, that's worth, that technology is worth billions of dollars.
It is, yeah.
So you got to protect that stuff.
Yep.
All right, Ron, thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Continue our coverage of Arizona Educators United, their fight for higher pay and more money for schools.
So as we start a new week here, it looks like we could be closer to a walkout here in Arizona.
Carmen Blackwell live with the latest developments on this. Carmen, the teachers asked for a 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want.
It's more than that. We want 20%. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% pay raise. The governor said, okay. Now the teachers are saying, no, it's more than that we want. 20% p
Yeah, that's right. Now those teachers are saying that 20% is just not going to make the cut here. Well, that group is also called Arizona Educators United, and they say that they'll start taking votes on whether to stage a walkout. Organizers say the governor's plan doesn't do enough to fund classrooms, for example, like fix campus buildings and update curriculum and technology, and even lower class size. They also want an increase for support staff, not just the teachers. And they released this video just last night.
These are empty promises. We don't know where that money will come from to sustain this over time. The second big piece for us is, to be frank, this doesn't do enough for our kids and colleagues. We've been talking for weeks now about the crisis that we're in Arizona, and this proposal does not meet those demands that we put forth to fix those issues. So that is incredibly frustrating for us to not be involved in the discussion on the solution.
And it's not clear when or if a walkout would actually happen, but the group is planning on hosting meetings across the state on Saturday. Now, Governor Ducey's deal isn't a guarantee just yet either, as state lawmakers will still need to decide on his plan while they work to pass a budget deal. But for now, that's the latest that we have live from the state capitol. I'm Carmen Blackwell. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Carmen. We'll have
Carmen,
to see how that
thank
whole
you.
thing shakes out.
Yeah.
So maybe the sides come a little bit closer together, and
Maybe they're able to talk about something, right? And to come up with a solution.
because a walkout could be tough on a lot of people,
A lot of families.
depending on how it's done. Okay, so new this morning, new developments in the investigation into a crash that killed the driver of a Tesla Model X in California last month.
Well, the NTSB says it will no longer share information with Tesla during its investigation. This comes after Tesla revealed the car's autopilot was engaged and the driver did not have his hands on the wheel.
So the NTSB said that Tesla violated an agreement they had by releasing some of that information before it was totally vetted. But Tesla CEO Elon Musk came back and said the company didn't keep their end of the agreement because it forced them to withhold information that could affect public safety.
Wow.
So I said they wanted to get that out there.
Look at those images. Wow.
But, you know, we had the fatal Uber crash. That was a fully autonomous vehicle. It
Right.
wasn't like the autopilot that you have in Tesla. And so there's a lot of questions right now about this driverless technology.
So, we went for, well, you did.
Yeah, I
I
did.
watched you yesterday. I saw you or on Friday.
Friday.
Went for a ride with an ASU professor in a new Tesla Model 3.
And we wanted to take a look at the autopilot technology, how it works, and how he felt about how, confident he was in it as we were driving. Take a look.
How often do you use the autopilot?
Pretty much all the time I'm on the freeway, right? I drive from downtown Phoenix out to East Mesa, and I get on the freeway and engage it, and it's there. And like 95% of the drive is perfectly fine. No interchanges I'm dealing with, and actually here in Arizona, the roads are pretty well marked too, so that's not an issue. I'll engage the control here, one tack, and it's in cruise control, and now I do a double one, and now it's in autopilot. It says, please keep your hands on the wheel. Okay, my hands are on the wheel, but I'm not controlling it. I'm just resting my hands on it. It's seeing, here's this traffic, it's slowing down.
So this is the car braking.
This is the car.
This is not you braking.
No, and it's seeing the lanes, using cameras and sensors to read the lanes, and it's got these blue markers here showing me what it's seeing as the lane. We're still in this kind of wide lane where that other lane just came in, and it's saying, okay, we'll be here. Now the lane gets to a normal size.
Yeah, it's braking.
It's braking.
What's the best thing about this autopilot?
The autopilot, it frees you from the pedal and brake in stop and go traffic, for example. Okay, now here it'll slow down for this traffic. So it says the target is 65 max, and there's the speed limit. It knows the speed limit and has that as the target max. This car comes in, it'll recognize the car, and even this other one here.
Wow, it slowed down right as those cars came in.
As they came in.
How confident are you in the driving ability of autopilot?
I'm really confident. I'm quite happy with it. Knowing that I need to be aware, I'm quite confident it'll go around the corner very well.
Here we are. It is. You're not touching the steering wheel right now.
I'm not touching it, and it's maintaining it nicely here in the center. It'll notice that vehicle over there if I wanted it, if I were doing anything about that.
Wow. So what do you think when you hear the stories of like the Uber incident and the incident actually involving a Tesla going up into the median?
It's unfortunate, but it's still a question of the driver being engaged. The Tesla accident in California, the driver had apparently received a couple of warnings that, pay attention, hold on to the wheel. Sorry about
even
that.
though you're an autopilot, you still have to pay attention.
Exactly. It's more of a co-pilot. It's not self-driving, it's assistive driving.
So that's the point that Peter was making. It's
Yeah.
more of a co-pilot, and they were thinking that the accident in California, he'd gotten warnings, hey, you need to re-engage, you need to do that, and he hadn't done that, and then it went over into the median. But it's still pretty cool technology. You were saying you've got adaptive cruise control in your car.
In our car, yeah, we do.
And
You do in yours too.
I do, and mine's not a fancy car at all. And
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it's nice because it just frees you from having to do one more thing. But I constantly have my leg ready if I have to brake.
Right, you're still watching the
Sure.
road. I wonder though, did he ever say anything like he checks emails while he's driving, or he reads a newspaper?
Well,
or
you
anything
saw
like that?
him. He's hardcore about it. He had both of his hands on. He only took his hands off to show me that the car was
Which is
steering.
really good. That's how you'd want it to work, right?
But that's the Model 3. That's the new one that just came out, and it's got all the cameras installed on it that it could be ready for fully autonomous driving as soon as everything's worked out.
Wow.
But there's still a few bugs out there, as we've seen, for sure. But it was interesting, so thanks for taking me on the ride. Coming up, we talk with TMZ about how Beyonce kept a big secret for her Coachella show.
Oh, this is really cool. Who the world-famous singer reunited with on stage.
And John Cena back, he's on the prowl again, ladies. He called off his engagement.
You think he still has like a black book? Isn't that like, the numbers, digits?
I'm not sure he needs a bunch of phone numbers.